CRMs, customer relationship management. If you have a question on CRMs, you're not sure what they are, and if you're not sure which one to buy from the tens of CRMs out there, if you're not sure if and when you need one, or if you've already invested in a CRM software and you're not sure what to do with it and how to use it, I've got you covered. Welcome to Startup with Ferris. Thank you for tuning in. So Bill Gates said, how you gather, manage, and use information will determine whether you win or lose. Now, according to some sources, a shocking 75% of small to mid-sized businesses do not gather, manage, or use their sales data in an organized fashion. They end up failing. The failure rate for small businesses is really high, anywhere from 20% in the first year to 30% the second year, up to 50% and higher. So if you don't have your data organized, your sales data organized in a set up in a managed in an organized fashion, you'll be losing hard and qualified leads, and as a result, not closing as many deals as you can. See, in a given year, I speak with anywhere from 50 to 100 of founders and aspiring entrepreneurs, and I examine their sales process. I ask very few pointed questions. And for some of these founders and some of these people maybe who are doing some side hustling, trying to get to this, to take that leap and go to a full-time business, for some of those folks, the word or the concept of processes and systems are foreign. It's all kept in post-it notes and emails and maybe on their phones. So if you happen to be in this category, or if you happen to be really, really busy with the business that you're running and haven't set up systems and processes, you're leaving a lot on the table. So help me help you. And that's why I'm dedicating this session and three more to cover all things CRM. In today's session, I'll be covering why a CRM is crucial for your business, three benefits of CRMs, and then specific examples of the type of data you can get out of a CRM. And this way you can really improve the relationships you have with your customers and close more deals. And then we're covering all of that today. Now, in the next three sessions, and remember, we have these sessions every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be covering which CRM to choose. I know a lot of people say, which one is the best one? Do I go with this or that or the other? Zoho, CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot, you name it. So we'll cover that and give you some criteria on how to choose the right one for you. Then tips on implementing CRMs. And last but not least, we'll wrap up this series with best practices and getting more out of a CRM that you choose. Okay? Before now we start, a couple of housekeeping items, like always. Continue to send us your questions on any platform that you're on, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube. Email us directly or leave your question or comment in the link in the description below. And second, whether you're watching or listening live or tuning in later, let me know if you like what you're hearing, and also if there's specific topics you'd like us to cover. So we produce a lot of content. We produce a lot of strategies, tips, tactical, practical plans on all things entrepreneurship. So let us know what you are looking, what you need help in, and we'll be more happy to include that in our in the content that we are producing. So let's jump right in. The way I like to think about it is that some business processes and tools, they're very essential to every entrepreneur. Even if you're just starting out, you might not realize how important it is to have systems, to have checklists, to have a to-do list. And I see it even with entrepreneurs who've been around for months or for maybe a couple of years. They still have it all here because they're the founders. They're the ones who have that go-getterness, and they've been climbing in an uphill battle to get to the business to the stage they're in, and they think they can figure it out all on their own. There is some truth to that, but without systems and processes across every aspect of your business, you can't really scale that business. So think of accounting and payroll systems, just as an example. You need these systems to pay your team, payroll system, of course. You need to be compliant with government regulations, pay taxes, and all that good stuff. And you need to keep your finances in order. That's on accounting and finance. Now, communication, your email, your website, your phone number, your phone system that you have a number of people, they allow you to communicate with others. And the same thing is for sales. CRMs are critical to your business's success. Now, unfortunately, only 25% of small and mid-sized businesses have a CRM and use it. So, I mean, it was a sort of a shocking number actually when I came across it. But I think what people miss out is, the services sector, of course, and I think in business in general, like every lead counts. And whether you are a seasoned professional and your company is doing well and you're getting a whole lot more leads now because people know you, there's word of mouth, you have campaigns right now running and generating awareness. Whether you're that or if you're just starting out, you have to have a way to manage, to capture that data and to act on that data, the sales data. People's names, people's emails, email addresses, the companies they work at, the type of company. When you engage with these leads and these potential customers, the information you gather from those discussions, you can only remember so much. So that's where it's crucial in my mind to start to build that habit of capturing that information, that sales information, and also coming up with a way for you to act on that data that you're capturing. So imagine you've just launched a marketing campaign, paid search, or even if you've gone to a networking event, and you met 20 people. So all of a sudden you're bombarded with inquiries. You've impressed these people that you've talked to, or maybe your paid campaign is doing really well, and you're getting inquiries through your website, or maybe you send a follow-up email to people and say, it was great meeting you last night. And then you got a whole lot of them saying, yeah, I'm interested. I want to have a follow-up discussion to learn more about what you offer. So without a system to manage these leads, it's going to get really messy, and you're left juggling emails, phone calls, and follow-ups. And then in your mind, which lead, you're always thinking like, who should I follow up on next? Which lead most deserves your time and attention? So this is where a CRM is just indispensable. In a CRM, whichever one you end up choosing, and we'll guide you through that in the next few episodes, you can organize the leads. You can track all the interactions you have with the customer. And then that basic information capturing, and that way to track every email you sent, every call you've made, maybe every if you've done a demo, you've sent the lead some supporting material, you send them a proposal, you tracking all that in the CRM, and it's going to streamline your entire sales process. So you won't have any missed follow-up calls, missed follow-ups, or missed opportunities. And all of that obviously will cause delay in you closing deals and potentially losing deals. So think of the way, I want you to think about a CRM. Think of it as your digital assistant. It reminds you when to contact a prospect. It reminds you when to send a proposal. It reminds you which leads are qualified and which ones are unqualified, so that you don't spend a lot of time on them. So all of that is what a CRM system would provide you. And without it, I think you risk letting valuable deals slip through the cracks. So of course, if you're just starting out and you only have a couple of emails, couple of inquiries, that you don't need a CRM, and we'll be sharing an asset that people can use when they're just starting off. But as soon as you have 50 or 60 or some number, I think north of 50 qualified leads in your system, it gets really messy, really confusing very quickly. So as your business grows, as your interactions with customers expands, uh, the complexity of managing those leads is going to increase as well. And with this complexity, I think the only way that you can effectively track so many people in so many different stages of the sales process, it's just going to be too much and overwhelming. And for those of you who are just maybe dialing in, those who maybe are new to the channel, we have a lot of, just a side note here, we have a lot of content, a lot of videos, a lot of articles on our website on sales. And we do have a video, it's called the ultimate guide to sales funnels. So if the whole idea of capturing information about the leads, nurturing leads is new to you, I definitely recommend you check out the ultimate guide to sales funnels, and we'll leave that link in the description after this session. But back to CRM. I think the only way to effectively track so many people in so many different stages, it's just going to be overwhelming if you do it manually or maybe through like emails and maybe putting things in folders. So in a way, what you're doing here is you're setting the foundation. You're setting the foundation when you invest in a CRM, when you track data in a methodical fashion, when you look at the data on a regular cadence every morning, every week, look at what you've done last week, look at the priorities for next week. When you do that, you're building the foundation for a scalable growth, and really streamlining, optimizing the sales process. You're also improving client relationships because you are following up with them in a timely fashion, and then that's going to also improve client satisfaction, because when you tell a client, I'll get back to you within a few days, and you don't, it does not reflect well on you, on us as in sales. So that is the foundation that I want you to build, is that idea of capturing information, tracking that information, organizing that information, and then setting up a process where you can review it and act on it. So that's so far sort of a general overview of the CRMs and the benefits. And one thing that I'm seeing now in the last maybe year or so, a lot of the CRM providers, they're incorporating AI capabilities to replace some of the manual work. So for example, if you have a list of, and I'll show you some examples from one of the CRM systems in a bit here. If you are using let's say you have 50 leads in your database, in your CRM, and you want to run a campaign on a new service that you're offering. Maybe you have a new discount, or maybe it's your business has seasonality and you have an offer. Whatever the case might be, like in your mind, okay, which one do I follow up on first? So you can go into your CRM and you can look at, filter out the unqualified, filter out the ones that said, reach back to us in a year from now. You don't want to be sort of obnoxious and keep emailing people who told you not to contact them for a while, right? So looking at that data manually will tell you, okay, follow up on the qualified leads. Now, some of the AI capabilities that are being added to the CR systems, they'll surface to you which leads are the hottest, and which leads you should follow up on next, again based on the data, based on the context that you provided. So there's still some work on your part, but the system will surface the hottest leads. They'll also, I've seen some of the demos where they actually propose content for you, like, hey, follow up with this leads and here's a message. So for example, let's say you entered in the system, you said the client is looking for a list of FAQs on the service I offer, or maybe they're looking for pricing. So this system will tell you, okay, Hey, they'll give you a sample actually email. Hey Jane, how's it going? It's been a while. You asked about pricing. Here's the asset. So again, as part of your CRM selection process, you want to keep an eye on some of these new capabilities that will remove some of the manual work from your end. If you're new to CRMs, then I wouldn't worry about this too much. But if you've invested in a CRM, or if you're actively looking for a CRM, look for some of these new capabilities that again will make your job easier. So, um, but just on AI, as always, if you're using Chat GPT or Gemini or whichever system you're using, please don't use these systems blindly, right? Review, validate, always, especially if they're numbers and quotes, double check. We can have a whole session on AI, but that's for another time. For now, don't just use the messages that come out blindly. Review them, customize them where they're needed before you send the email to the lead or to the customer. All right, let's pause for some questions. So what do we have? How early do I need a CRM? I would not get into a CRM discussion or look into it like if I'm just starting. If I'm speaking with a founder and they're just starting, I would definitely not make it a priority early on. But I wouldn't wait too long either. So if you want to maybe like a benchmark or like a threshold, I've used in different videos and different articles, I've used the number 50. So I think once you have 50 qualified leads, it might be a good time for you to start looking for and then investing in setting up a CRM. And the reason I'm saying that is, and we have a video actually coming out on this topic, hopefully next week, is you want to build for any software that you use, whether it's an accounting system or a CRM system, or you name it, like a IT monitoring system, whatever the case might be. You want to use it, or even like if you're using something like Basecamp or Asana or Notion or any of these task management or project management tools. You want to use it. You want to see how you want to customize it. You want to see how it works for your own service for your own business. You want to come up with a naming convention. Like all of these are really important habits and systems you set up for your business that the CRM will help you scale and will help you manage better. So initially you don't have a lot of leads. So okay, I have a CRM. I have 2 entries, 3 entries, 4 entries. I think it just adds a lot to the complexity. Initially, for the first few months, I wanted to be out there marketing and selling, and then as soon as you sell, I wanted to be delivering and satisfying the clients. So I would say if you were ask me for a specific number, I would say anywhere around, as you get closer or close to 50 or so qualified leads, and you have a lot of follow-ups and a lot of proposals, I would say that would be a good time. Again, don't quote me on that 50 as sort of a hard number, but as you get closer to that number of leads, I think it'll be a good time to invest in a CRM. So don't do it right away. Initially, I wanted to market and sell and just use a spreadsheet. That would be more than plenty. And we'll have actually a spreadsheet. Maybe I'm sharing more than I should, but we will have an asset for you that you can leverage. We'll have it available when we launch the video. And then we also have a couple of articles that are coming out on our website on CRM. So as we're going through this series, we'll have a couple of videos, and we'll also have a few articles on the website with these assets available to you. So I'll take this opportunity to ask you, if you're liking this content, hit the like button, and then also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the new videos that we'll be releasing on this topic and other topics related to entrepreneurship. My goal here is to help you build, grow, and scale the business to 7 and 8 figures. And all these tools and this framework that we have will help you get there. Hopefully, avoiding all the mistakes I made, and hopefully you get there and with less time and with less hard work than is required if you would do it on your own. Okay, so good question. Now let's talk about specific benefits that a CRM will bring to your services business. And again, we covered some of the whys and some of the examples, but I want to just drill just a little bit deeper. So if someone, let's say you're a customer now, and you've spoke with a lead about a service that you need for your house or for your business, and they told you, hey, we'll get you an answer by Thursday, and then Thursday comes and goes, and nothing, and then you follow up with them and say, oh yeah, well, I didn't mean this Thursday, it's next Thursday, or they're not taking this seriously. I mean, this people lose deals. People, we're not patient anymore. If a vendor is, excuse me, if a vendor is proposing or is promising to deliver something and they don't, and they, I need this service, I'm just gonna go on Google and then search and find the next vendor. So delaying responses to customers, not responding to customers in a timely fashion, will cost you the sale. No one enjoys being ignored, ghosted, and blown off. So keep that in mind. And I think as business owners, especially if we're just starting out or if we're just really busy, there are only so many hours in a day, and despite our best intentions, we lose track of promises, of deadlines, and other action items. So we can push off some things on our to-do list, uh, maybe some internal stuff, maybe some financial planning, maybe some brainstorming about the new feature or the new service. But business relationships should never be one of those things that we push off, to the side or delay, because people have expectations of us delivering on time, and it's just part of you as a service provider establishing that rapport and that trust between you and the client. Because if you're slipping, if you're not delivering on time during the sales process, I mean, leads might be, your potential customers might be saying, like, if they're behind and they're not delivering during the sales process, how are they going to behave? How are they going to take care of me when actually after I buy? So keep that in mind. So the right system, the right CRM will help you keep those relationships, I think, front and center, and never miss anything. Again, assuming you're capturing this data and you have a good cadence on when to follow up on this data in your system. So really, that first tangible benefit of a CRM is that it's going to streamline your relationships with your clients. Um, and it's not just, again, a contact list, or for those of us old enough, it's not just a Rolodex where you have someone's phone number and email address and then just go and scroll and find their number and call them. It's not just that. It's there's, again, prioritization of the leads. It is, it allows you to identify which needs to nurture. It allows you to track, um, when you have opportunities, which opportunities are maybe in a negotiation phase, which ones are in about to send a proposal stage, which proposals, which contracts you've closed. So then you can later, at the end of the quarter, you can go back to your report and see maybe the sources of the opportunities that you've closed, and those are sources you want to invest more of. And so there's, and I'll show you some examples on how to do all of that. So that instant, I think the CRMs, a well set up and well maintained CRM can help you in so many areas of the business, such as that instant access to how many leads do I have in my funnel, how many deals have a good chance of closing, and you can assign percentages to these deals. Which leads, again, as we said before, are worth following up on with, and then within the specific time frame. So all that's important. And I think I mentioned this on another session. In another session, I was actually looking for a specific service, and I had two vendors pitch us. And one of them, when I told them, hey, I'm really busy for the next 6 to 8 weeks because we're launching a new initiative, so please get back with me in 6 to 8 weeks, they got visibly annoyed and unhappy. Like, how dare I, the customer, tell them that I'm busy now, right? And they never sent a thank you note. I did send them a thank you note after the call, because they did provide value during that conversation, but I never got a call from them. So that's one lead, one vendor. And then another vendor I spoke with, very thoughtful. After they pitched, after they showed us a demo of their service, they said, I said, hey, I'm really busy. I need about 6 to 8 weeks to before I have time to get back to you. And they said, no problem. Would mid-June okay? I said yes. And then a couple of days later, then they said, I'll keep it on my calendar. And then as we approached mid-June, I get an email from them say, hey, we spoke 6 weeks ago. You said this is a good time for you to follow up. I'm going to set up a call. Here's some available time slots. When is a good time for you? Let's meet. Like, this vendor, the second vendor, was listening, understood that I was really busy, and then followed up exactly on when I asked them to follow up. And believe it or not, all of these are like positive notes about this vendor. Yeah, they listened, they followed up, within the time frame that's convenient for me. And even if I don't end up buying from them, I have a lot of respect for this specific vendor. So anyhow, that's the CRM. I mean, this vendor that I'm referring to, they're talking to tens of leads every week. So if they're using their CRM and system to remind them when to follow up, and that's really a significant feature that the CRM will enable for you. So so we talked about these conversations that you're tracking. Typically a CRM would have a lot of fields, and one of them would be like, you keep a status update about your conversations. And then, as I said, that follow-up, that timely follow-up is going to help you build trust, and then you'll be more efficient with your communications. Now, time is a very there's a lot of demand on you, on your time, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, even as a salesperson, right? So you becoming more efficient in your communications and knowing when to follow up with whom is a lifesaver in my mind. So and then the last point here is that, before we go maybe to another question, is especially if your service has a longer time cycle, longer sales cycle. Let's say it takes you maybe on the average 6 or 8 weeks to close a deal, and there's a lot of back and forth between you and the clients, and maybe there are multiple stakeholders. Let's say you're selling B2B, business to business. If you had 3-4 meetings with this company and you met with different stakeholders, you're learning about their pain points, about their concerns, about their objections, about who the incumbent is, about maybe the competitors, who is it that they're talking to. So all that information can't just be here in your brain. You have to put it down in writing. And I think tracking all that information in a system, it's going to enable you to address them, and also make sure that when you are writing the proposal for this, for this customer, you're going to go back to your notes and see everything you've heard from the different stakeholders and all their concerns and aspirations, and make sure your proposal is addressing those pain points and those concerns, and showing the client the solution that you'll be offering. So streamlining is an amazing benefit of a CRM. And again, if you're just starting out, all of that can be done in your head in a Google Sheet. That's okay. But as you get more qualified leads, and as you have more things in your cycle, and more leads and potential customers to follow up with, things will slip through the cracks if you do not track it in a system. All right, let's see what questions we have. Do CRMs automatically track emails? Good question. So their systems, for example, if you're using HubSpot, HubSpot had sort of started, I think, as a marketing automation system. Basically, when you get a lead on your, let's say someone sign up to your newsletter, you send them a welcome email, and then there's a structure. You set up a process to send them an email like for 5 days. Like, this is sort of your onboarding sequence, right? A welcome message, and then here's a how-to, and here's a video on what to do, and here's some of the other features maybe the customer hasn't used, right? So from that perspective, you set up, again, like using that example, you have a 5-day drip campaign, or like an onboarding campaign of 5 emails. So that's all tracked in the system. In a lot of the CRMs, you can, if you just, let's say, using Gmail or the Google systems, you can potentially, and that's what I did way back then, is you get a code from the CRM provider that you include in your BCC field, so that every time you send an email to a lead, that email is also getting blind copied, BCC, to the CRM system. So you're tracking all your communication. So the different systems have different capabilities. But if you're sending emails from within a CRM, or a CRM and potentially like a marketing automation system, all that's tracked in the system. If you're sending emails from excuse me, from a third party email provider, then you have to have check out the help articles on the CRM system that you're using, and typically there's a method for you to make sure these emails are automatically integrated with your CRM. This way, all the communication with the customer, they're tracked in this database, in the CRM, in their records, for the customer's records. And then there'll still be some manual work, and that is when you have a phone conversation with a customer, or let's say you go to a networking event and see the lead. I mean, AI is not that good yet, that it reads your mind and capture information and puts it in the CRM. So after you come back from that meeting with the customer, or the phone call, maybe they called you, you want to make a note in the CRM that, hey, I spoke with the customer, and here's the summary of the conversation. So there is a bit of a manual work, but I think to the extent that we can automate, especially if you have the lead on, let's say the lead said, we're not ready to buy, but yes, add me to your marketing, add me to your newsletter list. So if you're sending emails from within your CRM system, and again, some CRM systems have all those features built in, you can then just add that lead who's not a customer yet, but he said stay in touch. You can add them to a campaign where they're getting an update from you weekly or monthly, or whatever the cadence is. All right, good stuff. The other part of in terms of benefits is really around operational efficiency. Now, some of these topics, some of these benefits overlap, but I'm highlighting things that might resonate in a different way with some of our listeners and viewers, because it's going to depend on the phase of business you're in, and as you're growing, and as you have more people selling with you and for you, it's going to be really hard to track what's going on with other salespeople, or maybe you have account managers who are taking care of the customers, but they also have a responsibility to upsell or maybe cross sell. So tracking all of those sales activities beyond what you're doing as an entrepreneur yourself, and as your company's number one salesperson, it's going to be really hard to do it in an efficient manner. So so while the CRMs have always excelled at managing clients through the sales pipeline, and obviously, um, capturing the leads and the opportunities, they do a whole lot more. Um, for example, I remember when I was involved in sales way back then, when the deal has closed, we moved the prospect to say deal one. That is that column, and then once I close that deal, then that action of me saying deal one, it triggered a notification to our delivery team, and then they would take all that information, everything I captured um, in my conversations with the customer, along with the proposal and all the documentation we've sent them. All of that is kept in a system that is now passed on to the delivery team. So that's just from an operational efficiency. Again, day one you might not need this, but again, as you hire more people, whether it's delivery people, customer support people, or actual salespeople selling for you, that information that you're gathering from the interactions with the clients is something you want to keep and pass on to everyone who is going to be interacting with that customer. So there's a lot of efficiency, operational efficiency, when you have this information kept in one place. So, um, so that's on operational efficiency. Now, I would say one of the key features, maybe the best feature of CRMs, is the ability to sell, to assemble and tell a story that emerges from the data that is behind all of your busy work, right? So you have a lot of data, a whole lot of leads, and then when you follow up with the leads, and then the status of the leads, qualified, unqualified, all that good stuff. You have opportunities, the actual um, potential sales opportunities, and again, what stage these opportunities are in. You have maybe for a client, you might have 5 contacts. So there's a lot of data in these databases that they're built to house this kind of data. Sorry, just look at my screen here. Yeah, good. So if you have a batch of 50 new leads to work through, you'll be involved in several emails, several phone calls, and then meetings. You'll be qualifying, parsing, and moving these leads through the stages, and potentially uh, some percentage of those they'll become clients. But let's say it's the end of the quarter, and you're doing, or the end of the month, and you're looking, you want to know, like, how many leads did we get this month, how many qualified, how many unqualified, what are the sources of these leads. Like, all that information is just going to be, is not, you can't keep that in your mind, you can't keep that in your head, you have to be able to track this. So I think this is one of the best features of a CRM, a well-maintained CRM, is that you can easily see how many qualified versus unqualified leads you have. You can also see, if you have things set up properly, the marketing source, the marketing channels that are bringing those leads is also tracked in the CRM. So if you have 100, let's say you have 10 leads last week, and 7 of them are unqualified and 3 are qualified, you should be able to go in the system and see where these unqualified leads came from. So we said 7 out of 10. And if you're spending money on a campaign that is bringing you unqualified leads, guess what? You have to re-examine that campaign. Maybe it's set up properly. Maybe it's targeting the wrong crowd. Maybe you want to shut off that campaign altogether. So that's really important. And then it's the same thing for qualified leads. Which source of marketing with channel is bringing you these qualified leads, and you want to invest more in this source or in this channel. And the same thing if you have a salesperson, or maybe a couple salespeople selling for you. Which sales rep is bringing in more leads? Which sales rep is turning cold leads into warm leads? Which salesperson is converting these leads into customers? Which salesperson is struggling and maybe they need support? Is not like subjective anymore, because you have data. If you have two, you have John and Jane brought in 10 qualified leads consistently every month, and then John is bringing 2 qualified leads. There's an issue with John. Jane is amazing, and maybe she's just working twice as hard as John, or maybe John just hasn't been educated about the product, or he's not handling objections. So just having that visibility at your fingertips when you're doing maybe your weekly reviews or your monthly reviews, you can go and act on that data. In this case, helping John see if he can match up to Jane and her amazing performance in terms of bringing in qualified leads. So CRMs are not only they help you track these types of metrics, they can also give you access to customizable dashboards, so you can monitor the most important KPIs, key performance indicators for your business with a few clicks. So I'm going to walk you through. I want to do we're nearing the end of the episode now. I won't go through a whole lot of presentation, but I want to show you just examples of access to data in a CRM. And I'm using Salesforce, and it doesn't have to be Salesforce. We were a Salesforce partner. We were Salesforce was a customer of ours, big customer of ours way back then. So Salesforce is dear and near to my heart. Let me show you here. Bring this to the front. Yeah. So you see here uh, on the screen, if you're watching, and then if you're listening, I'll just walk you through it. Basically, this is we have some data from not real data. This is with the help of ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT give me a sample data, 25 rows of. Oh, my screen has frozen. Oh, okay, it's fine now. Sorry. Or maybe it's frozen. I don't know. Maybe it is. But you'll see on the screen name John Doe company. Let's see, Jessica Adams company, Alpha here, Paul Walker, Lisa White, Delta. I guess ChatGPT was very creative in coming up with the company names here, as you can tell, A Alpha, A B C. So great. Delta, Eta, Iota. Okay, good. So I have basically name, company name, phone number, email, which is great. You can obviously add geography. You can add your own custom fields. A lot of these CRMs, they come up with their own standard fields, and then you can easily add a custom field. So you see on the far right here the lead status, and that's really important. So John Doe, our friend John Doe, is unqualified. And again, you've gone through that qualification process, maybe through your website when you vet the lead through maybe different questions you're asking them, or maybe when you had a conversation with them. And then you see the other one, Jessica Adams and Paul and Lisa, they're all open, meaning I haven't really done any follow up with them. I need to do something about it. And then the list goes on. So this is just a very simple view of the leads, and you can sort, you can filter by qualified, by unqualified, depending on what you're trying to do for the business. But from a closing a deal perspective, you definitely want to be very close to the qualified ones. And then the open ones, you don't want to keep them open for a long time. You want to make sure you follow up and turn them from open to maybe again a different state where either they're qualified or not. So that's just one example. um, but you can go in again depending on which CRM system you end up using, or if you already have one. Most of these systems have out of the box dashboards that they show you, funnels that they show you. You can do things in a table like I have, or you can show it in maybe a bar chart, or you can show it in a different way. So play, if you have a CRM today, do spend a little bit of time on the reports it provides. And again, the key point here is that garbage in, garbage out. So if you're not adding information in the CRM, if you're not maintaining the CRM and making sure that every interaction is kept, and you're updating the status of the leads, and you're updating the next step, the next follow-up step with the leads, then when you do these reports, they're going to be they're not going to be very meaningful. So keep that in mind as you are working with these systems. All right. For some reason, my screen is just, I hope it's not, I guess you can still hear me. So yeah, good. All right, now other things you can do. So we talked about lead sources. You can report on, show me a percentage of qualified leads versus unqualified leads. You can do things like, of all the leads I'm getting, like what's my conversion rate from leads to opportunities. Those are the actual sales opportunities I want to follow up on. You can look at it, as I said earlier, by source. Show me the leads and show me the opportunities by source. What brought this lead in? You can do also, if you have, let's say you have 5 stages for your opportunities. Maybe you have the client is evaluating. So you qualified the leads and now you turn them into an opportunity. At least this is the naming convention in Salesforce. But the same concept applied to all these CRMs. So initially you have a lead. That's more of a marketing function. The marketing people bring in the leads. Or if you're a solopreneur today, if you're just an entrepreneur who's just starting, you are going to be the VP of sales and the VP of marketing. But I think it's good to think of leads and sales and marketing separately. Even if you're just a sole practitioner at this point, when I go out to network, that's marketing. Once I get the leads, I get 10 or 20 leads after this marketing, after this networking event. Now I'm going to put on my sales hat and start to qualify these leads, right? So you can do a whole lot of reporting, a whole lot of dashboarding, a whole lot of, you can import this stuff into spreadsheet. All of that is available. And then as you start to close deals, as you start to have clients, you can look at, let's say maybe for one client, you were able to upsell them 3 things. So you can see average revenue maybe per deal, or like the total revenue per client. And you see like the clients who are sending you a lot of revenue. You can look at like client lifetime value and all that. So all of that and more is available to you. And before we wrap up today, there's one important point that I want to highlight. I've sort of alluded to it throughout the session, um, but these CRMs, they used to be simpler. Now a lot of the vendors are adding AI to it, which is great for us as users. But also some of these systems out there, they've grown way beyond what a traditional customer relationship management system does. So you'll see, for example, some especially some vertical specific CRMs. Let's say you have a dispatching service. They include you have a fleet, so they include system where people in the field can go and update maybe customer status. The job is done now. They can do it on their phone, on their app. So there are a lot of capabilities that these CRMs offer. And again, we'll talk about some of these features in the next few sessions, and we'll give you some criteria on how to select the right CRM for you. But keep in mind that these CRMs have a lot more capabilities, and every vendor wants you to buy more of them, and they want you maybe to buy a module, and then after you kind of get hooked on it, they want you to buy another module, or they want you to start at a certain level and then upgrade to premium. So, which is all fine, but my recommendation is to examine what your requirements are today and maybe for the foreseeable future, and then that would be a guide for you as you're looking at these different systems. And then we'll talk about this a lot in the next couple of sessions. But for now, before I go to that last section here, the last benefit that I want to cover today, let's see if we have another question. What is the most important report in a CRM? So I went through a whole lot of reports earlier, and I showed you just one sample one here. I would say the most important report is, it's going to depend on which hat you are wearing. So if you are, again, even if you're a solopreneur or even an entrepreneur who's just starting and you have big dreams to grow the business, which is great. That's what I want to think about, growth. Because Phil Knight said, the founder of Nike, life is about growth. You grow or you die. So think about growth. So if you are this entrepreneur who just started or maybe started and have some now sales under your belt, you can, with your VP of marketing hat on, I think the most important report is basically how many leads am I bringing into the business, and of those, how many are qualified. So the number of qualified leads I'm bringing to the business is really important, because as from a marketing perspective, that's the main thing, is I'm bringing qualified leads to the business. Now with the VP of sales hat on, I've got the qualified leads. Now my goal here is to close more deals. So I would look at, for example, I would say converting, qualified leads to clients. Like that's so if of every 10 qualified leads, I'm converting 3. So that would be like a key performance indicator. Like my close rate is 30% of the qualified leads I'm getting. How can I improve this to 40%? How can how can I close deals faster? If it's taking me 6 weeks, maybe I can do it in 5 weeks or 4 weeks, because all of that impacts your cash flow. The more deals you close, the faster you close the deals, the more cash you have. So I would say from a VP of sales perspective, look at your close ratio. Now from a business perspective, there are probably other metrics. And then we have a comment from my dear friend Josh. Josh, thanks for being on this live stream, and thanks for your comment. Says recommendations for creating the discipline to properly maintain data in the CRM. That's a question. I found that getting the system in place is only half the battle. Getting reps and myself to maintain the data was often a bigger challenge. So spot on, Josh. And again, thank you for your comment. And Josh speaks from the trenches. He's built sales teams, and I think I said that earlier. There's the software. Excuse me. There are the systems. There are the processes. But at the end of the day, if you don't put time into these systems, whether it's accounting, whether it's HR systems, whether it's sales systems and CRMs, if you don't have that habit, that muscle of entering data in, uh, and quality data in, then you are leaving a lot, on the table, and you're just not making good use of that software. So it is, I think, the discipline of entering the data, the discipline of reporting on the data, the discipline of on a periodically, weekly, and then monthly reviewing the data with the sales reps. So in terms of specific recommendations, I think the sales leader, and in a small company initially, the business owner, I think the business owner, they have to walk the talk. They have to be leading by example. Every time they go out to a networking event, they come back, and it could be late at night, it could be early in the morning. They have 15 business cards or maybe 15 LinkedIn connections. They have to take that time and put that information in the CRM, and then let people know, let people show people that you are actually practicing um, the culture and the habits you want to build in the business. So, that I think that would be the number one thing is, and I think when you start to report on this data in a systematic and methodical way, a lot of these gaps will surface. So later on in our business, in the last business, we ended up hiring an amazing lady, who was just amazing at everything she touched. She was our sales ops manager. So basically, I mean, at that time we were eight figures and a whole lot of clients, hundreds of clients. So it was just really hard for the salesperson, the VP of sales, to manage this on their own. And there's just a lot of stuff happening, a lot of renewals, a lot of support that our delivery team needed. So at time, as you grow, as you get to maybe again into seven figures and later into eight figures, there are now functions in sales that are very operational by nature, where they look at the data and they see that missing information about these leads. Okay, they will nudge the salesperson to fill in the data, or they look at the opportunities and things are not updated. So there is that operational aspect of it, and I think, again, leading by example, and then monitoring, and when you have a weekly sales call with the sales reps, or even as just yourself as a sales owner, as a business owner, just reviewing the report and doing this mundane work, this boring work. But it is, without it, it's really hard to use these advanced features and then to leverage the software. So I hope that answered your question, Josh. And if you have other feedback, please add it. But appreciate your comment. Good. So the last piece I want to say, as sort of I was building up to before we answered the question, was on when you're looking for a CRM system, look for also all the features that are available. Some of these systems today include some project management capabilities. Again, this might be something you need. This something you might not need. Some systems include marketing automation in terms of sending emails based on specific rules and customer interactions. So all of these capabilities might be, or some of these capabilities might be good for you, for your business. They might not be something of importance at this point. So be aware of that. We'll talk a lot about this in detail in the next couple of episodes. So again, click the like button if you're liking what you're hearing, and subscribe to the channel so that you get updated on the videos that we will be sharing with you on this topic. We're basically dedicating the next 3 to 4 weeks to cover CRM from every other angle, and we'll have also separate videos and separate website articles on CRMs. Let's see. We have, I think, one more question before we wrap it up here. What should I use for project management? So as I said, some of the CRMs have project management or task management capabilities. I think use the CRM if you are a sales, like a head of sales and the head of sales, and you have maybe a couple sales reps, you can use the task management capabilities of a CRM part of your sort of sales operations. But from a company, from a small company perspective, I wouldn't necessarily use a CRM system for project management. I would use something, again, depending on what you like. There's so many out there today. Like there's Asana, Basecamp, Notion. Notion is very powerful, but requires a lot of setup. Some of these other ones, they're sort of plug and play. But no matter, I think what you do, I would say initially, I would say just use sort of best in class. So use best in class that fits for you, and maybe you've used Asana a lot in the last couple of years, in a nonprofit that you were part of, or maybe in the previous job. So just use Asana for task management, and then look for a CRM that just does CRM. There are, again, some CRMs that have it sort of, it's like a turnkey solution for small business. You can you can do everything that, like, you wouldn't need even email. They have like email systems, and they have a CRM, and they have marketing automation, and they have a bit of a project management. I think those would be, they're more like niche type CRMs. But if you're thinking like Salesforce or HubSpot or Zoho, I mean, I think use those as CRMs, and then use something else for project management. Again, this is it, there's always, it depends, but I would say initially, as you're starting a business, as you're growing your business in the early stages, use the sort of best in class type software for project management, and use best in class for CRMs, and for other systems as well. Cool, good question. I think we're wrapping up. I think this is the last question. So we talked about the benefits of CRMs. We talked about why you need a CRM. We walked through some examples of reports that are available to you, and thanks to Josh again, who reminded us of what's really, um, I think, holding a lot of businesses from closing more deals, and holding business from maximizing the return on investment of a CRM, and that is that discipline, that muscle that you have to build as a business owner, as someone who's in sales, to make sure these systems are updated. You are entering quality data in these systems, and then you are reporting on this data and acting on that data. So with that, we'll wrap up for today. Don't forget that we have these sessions, these live streams, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So join us next week. We will be off for the first week of July for the holiday, but we will resume after the holiday. We'll be here next week, and then the week after the holiday, and we will be answering questions that come to us from the community. And we will be covering, again, implementing CRMs, best practices in CRMs, how to choose the best CRM for your business. So join us then. And if you haven't hit the like button or subscribe to the channel, please do so. And then go to our website, startupwithfaraz.com, Faraz spelled Feras, and join our daily newsletter, the Daily Advisor, where we share strategies and tips on how to build, grow, and scale your business to 7 and 8 figures. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.